And the Democrats have failed to protect the interests of the American people. And you know why, Dems suck at messaging? Because they never talking about nothing. And they do nothing. So guess what? To me, they all got to go. Like Dems don't just have a messaging problem. They got a leadership problem. The Chuck Schumers of the world, the Hakeem Jeffries, they should all step down. And any Dem who isn't fighting for the people and standing with the party should be primaried. Like, how can you say the bill sucks, but you're passing it anyway? Like, you're not going to even try to, present something different? Right. Try to negotiate nothing? It sucks, but we're going to pass it anyway.
Oh, what you know, Joe.
Joe Concha, Fox News contributor.
Fox News contributor in his book, The Greatest Comeback Ever, Inside Trump's Big, Beautiful Campaign, coming out in the next month, April. And Joe's with us today. Joe, welcome back to the show. Happy Friday.
It is a happy Friday, isn't it, Annie? I mean, boy, the drama in Washington right now.
Yeah.
It's like watching Jersey Shore or The Real World, where everybody got along in like the first episode of the season, and now the whole thing's imploding. And we're talking about Democrats this time.
I was reading the tweets coming out from like Aisha Hasni and some Ryan Schmelz of both of Fox News talking about Kirsten Gillibrand losing her stuff behind a closed-door meeting. People outside the doors could hear her yelling about not shutting down the government. Now we see Chuck Schumer said, okay, I've got two bad options, but the least bad is to vote for the CR. What do you make of the Democrat Party right now? Nancy Pelosi has said you shouldn't vote for this bill.
I think that they're in a lose-lose situation, Annie. So if they're successful in shooting down this bill, and remember, Republicans have to get to 60 votes in the Senate, meaning they need 8 votes from the Democrat side because Rand Paul has said he won't vote for it. And with Chuck Schumer saying he's going to vote for it and John Fetterman, there'll probably be a couple more that follow along. But let's say the bill still falls short in the Senate. Then the government shuts down. And guess who gets blamed for it finally this time? Will be the Democrats, right? Because they all voted against the bill. And if the bill passes, then the civil war that's happening right now will just completely exacerbate itself, and it's going to get even worse as far as AOC running to like every microphone she possibly could, talking about how horrible Schumer is, and Jasmine Crockett, they're going to give her more airtime, which is never a good thing for this party. So overall, no matter what happens, if you're a Republican, just sit back with some popcorn and some tequila and just be like, oh, this is fun.
The one scenario I see playing out that makes me scratch my head a little bit here with this CR is that the Democrats come up with 7 votes, 7 people who say, we're going to do this, and then they come up 1 vote short and they try to pin it on Rand Paul and the Republicans. Do you think they could do that?
Yeah, they'll pin it on Rand Paul, exactly. I guess. I don't know. I think that's when you still have 52 out of 53, that's a pretty good ratio. So this is Rand Paul, right?
Yeah.
He's like the Thomas Massey, but on the Senate side, right? Just, okay, I'm going to vote against it because I'm going to take a stand, even though the bottom line is that this is something that Democrats actually supported before January 20th, right? This is basically Biden's bill, right? And
yes,
the only reason why we're talking about it now is because the federal budget is done every September 30th. So they're only opposing it because the only thing they know is if Trump likes it, then it must be bad. So if Trump salutes the girl who has brain trauma at the joint session of Congress because she got hit in the head with a volleyball that was hit by a man who shouldn't have been playing a woman's sport, they can't even clap for that. They can't clap for the kid, 13 years old, who had 13 brain surgeries because he has brain cancer. Can't clap for that. They're just opposed uniformly to everything. And I think you were playing Charlemagne before.
Yeah.
Charlemagne the God, the radio host, outspoken, obviously African-American host, no filter there. And he's right. Democrats never offer a solution, it seems, these days. It's Festivus. It's an airing of grievances, like every day. But then what's your solution? Well, Trump sucks, and Elon is going to steal my money. No, that's not working. That's why Democrats right now, Quinnipiac had a poll out recently, 20% approval for the Democratic Party. It's the lowest in the polls history. So that's where this party stands. No Senate, no House, no presidency, no Supreme Court. More states are governed by Republicans than Democrats. There is nothing on the scoreboard that's going their way right now.
Is the only way for them to get some footing back is to start figuring out places they can work with Republicans?
Yeah, precisely. Like one easy one was, maybe men shouldn't play against women in sports.
Yeah.
Right? And when the bill comes up, Every single senator votes against it, right? Even Fetterman, who's supposed to be like the reasonable, the voice of reason, well, he still voted against it, right? And then in the House, 206 House members on the Democratic side voted against it. It's like, that's an 80-20 issue. What are you doing? Or when Trump actually is trying to get peace in Ukraine, so he gets Ukraine to agree to a ceasefire, Russia in principle to agree to a ceasefire, gets everybody to the table, and he may have a peace deal. You'd think they'd say something good about it, like, yeah, the killing should stop. Yeah, it is a stalemate. Yeah, we can't spend hundreds of billions of dollars there anymore. Nope, can't do it. So they're so wrapped up in the resistance because I think ultimately they're allowing their emotions to get to them, and no one's thinking clearly. Plus, there's no leader of the party, right? You think it's Hakeem Jeffries. You think it's not Chuck Schumer, not the Senate Minority Leader anymore. That's certainly for sure. So I don't know how they change this at this point. Somebody's going to have to emerge, like an Obama type from 2004, I guess, in a time machine, come forward and be like, be the Democratic nominee, I guess, but that's years from now. And when you look at the Senate, Annie, I mean, you have 3 Democratic senators retiring.
Yeah.
And those become open seats in states that Trump won. So they're going to lose even more seats in the Senate. They could lose more in the House. If Trump is able to right the ship as far as like the tariffs and get the stock market back on track, all I know is inflation's come down and egg prices are lower again and gas prices are way down. Yeah, so all the indicators, if you just take the stock market out of it, and the stock market's having a great day today, Trump's been as successful as any president you could possibly imagine in his first 7 weeks because, oh, yeah, look at the border. Like, there's more people on this radio interview right now than crossed the border today. Let's put it that way.
So we're speaking with Joe Concha right now, Fox News contributor. I want to ask you about the factor here. I think I know what the missing piece is, why the Democrats don't know how to make this work. I think the Trump card that they've always had, no pun intended, in the media, whatever is happening, they've always had a messenger out there that could spin it in a way that was advantageous to them. And one of two things happened. Either they lost that connection or people stopped listening and watching. And you're an expert on this. The left-leaning, agenda-driven media out there, how are they doing?
Well, you're right about that. The old formula was, okay, Democrats make up a lie. There is no evidence for it. The media spreads it. Politicians echo it. A narrative is established. The public believes it, and the damage is done. Now, no one's listening to your point. It's going to be B. I'm going to take door number 2 on this one. Nobody's listening to the messenger anymore. I mean, you look at CNN's numbers. I mean, I can't get over the fact that I got to read about Caitlin Collins and Abby Phillip every day like it's like they say the most profound things ever. And then I look at their numbers, and they can't even get 600,000 people watching in primetime, yet they're in nearly 100 million homes. Now, think about that for a minute. What's 600,000? That means they're averaging, let's see, we have 50 states. I don't know. That's about, what, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I'm doing the math. 10, 12,000 people per state. Per state are watching that network. So, yes, whenever you see.
That's a small town.
Oh, that is exactly.
That's a small town.
What's St. Louis's population? About 700,000-800,000?
I was thinking it was around 6 or 7, so probably close to that.
Yeah. So more people live in your city than watch that network in the entire country. It's quite remarkable. And then the New York Times, you see, subscriptions are way down. Washington Post lost $100 million last year. They lost 300,000 subscribers. So, yeah, I just don't think the messenger is listened to anymore. And it's more about radio shows like yours and podcasts like Joe Rogan's. Oh, there's one survivor in all this in the legacy media, I guess if you want to call us legacy media, and that's Fox News, where our numbers just keep going up, which is amazing. And even Gutfeld, is beating now combined Kimmel and Colbert. It used to be like he'd beat Colbert by a little bit. Now he's beating Colbert and Kimmel combined. So that's how that's going, by the way.
I don't know if you sit down and you watch these shows on the networks they're on and consume, because that's part of your hazard pay job. But I don't ever sit down and I should watch Colbert tonight. I only see it through clips. And admittedly, from conservatives on social media platforms who are like, you got to see what Colbert did. So it's kind of a voyeuristic way of consuming the media. I'm curious. I'm sure you don't have these numbers off the top of your head, but how many people are actually consuming what they're doing who are kind of like hate watching or even, we're on the winning side now, so it's easier to take in what some of these different Kimmel or Colbert or who's the really angry guy? This little guy who's on late at night. Seth Meyers. Yeah, you knew what I was talking about.
So insufferable.
It's just there's no joy. There's nothing funny. It's not entertaining. It's just misery loves company, and I'm just not part of it.
Yeah, it's weird. This deli that I go into fairly often, they don't have cable. So they have on their TV the Letterman channel. I don't know where this exists. It's like one of those things that like pipes into your TV without needing cable. Don't ask me how you get this or where it is.
Magic.
So every day I walk in, there's stupid pet chicks going on. And I'm like, oh, I remember this. This is really funny. And I started watching it with my kids as well. I'm like, that's entertainment. Or they have like the best of like Letterman interviews where he'd actually have on funny people, or when like Carson would have like Rickles on, for example. Now you look at like Stephen Colbert, like, and guests are tonight Bernie Sanders and Jake Tapper. You're like, what? It's the last thing I want to see, you know? Nicole Wallace. Oh, so it's basically an extension of MSNBC, these shows, right? And they got 17 writers, so they can be a little bit funny, I guess, sometimes, but 99% of the jokes are about Trump. Like, how is that funny after a while? The same thing over and over again. And not like Trump's just been in office 7 weeks, so it's like a fresh face. This has been going on for 10 years.
Yes, yeah. It's just one big bowl of sad.
Yeah, exactly. A whole bowl of sad, a whole bowl of wrong, and 31 flavors of stupid.
I wanted to ask you this question before we let you go. We're speaking with Joe Concha right now. We ask a poll question every day on our YouTube live broadcast, and it's who is the MVP of the Trump team right now? YouTube restricts me to 4 options. So I know there are a lot of players right now who are making everything great again. We have Elon Musk, RFK Jr., J.D. Vance, and Marco Rubio, and they all serve very different purposes, and I think they kind of represent different wings of people who came together to get Donald Trump elected to make this all possibility. Who do you give the MVP to right now in this administration?
Ooh, that's tough. That's a really hard one. I picked the wrong week to stop sniffing glue. How am I going to do this?
Hurry, take a hit.
So my options are Vance, Rubio, Elon, and Trump?
RFK Jr. No, Trump.
Oh, RFK Jr.
Yeah.
Oh.
RFK Jr. Gotta throw him in there.
Boy, it's tight between Musk and Rubio, I think. Rubio, I think, has been so outstanding in like every interview. He is, I sound like an old man when I say this, getting Marco's my age, but he's matured so much. Like he used to be so rehearsed, right, when he ran in 2016. Now, like he is so confident in the way he presents himself on the world stage. In every interview he does, he schools whoever he's interviewing. That's certainly for sure.
Yep.
But JD has been, let's put it this way. When I interviewed the president, Trump, not too long ago, I said, has J.D. Vance, did he exceed your expectations? He goes, oh, yeah, by like 200%. And it's true. I mean, every interview he does, he's great also. So I'm kind of looking at it through a media prism. But in terms of accomplishment, in terms of Rubio, what he's done with the Ukrainians and Russia, I think it's Rubio.
Yeah. And then you got Elon Musk, who is out there doing yeoman's work when he could be running, bazillion-dollar companies and sending rockets to Mars or whatever it is that he does.
Oh, yeah.
It's a difficult choice, but I think it's a good testament to the administration's capabilities less than 2 months into their administration.
I changed my mind. It's Elon Musk.
It's Elon Musk.
Yeah. That's such a hard job. He's the pain sponge now at this point. Where he's got to cut things that people want. And the people that want these things are mainly federal employees and Democrats, right? Because you see all the things that are being benefited from USAID, for example. So, to do this and to run those companies at the same time, boy, I mean, the things he's uncovered, I thought it would find some stuff. It has just been remarkable, the things they've uncovered through Doge. So, all right, I changed my mind. It's Elon Musk by a hair over Rubio, but the other two choices, JD and RFK Jr., have been outstanding too. Overall, I mean, Trump got every cabinet member in that people thought never would get confirmed, and here we are.
All right, well, that is the state of affairs in Washington, D.C., and things are looking up for the Trump administration, but they do have a lot of work to do, and they got to see all these things through. Joe, you're always great to have on to give us the insight. We appreciate your time again today.
Happy
Friday.
St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, all right, we'll take that. Ides of March, right? Coming up here.
Oh,
Take care. Bye-bye. Thank you, Joe. Joe Concha, Fox News contributor, the greatest comeback ever inside Trump's big, beautiful campaign coming up in April. Make sure you go get that book. And I know that the McDonald's photo is on the cover of that book, and you know you want to display that on your shelf.